Good afternoon. Today is the 18th of April, 2012. I'm Darrell Peterson, a volunteer at the Palm Springs Air Museum here in Palm Springs, California. As part of the Veterans History Project of the Library of Congress in Washington, D.C., we conduct interviews with veterans and civilians who participated in this country's military conflicts, especially World War II. Today we are going to be interviewing a lady that was a civilian employee of the Army Air Force, or Army Air Corps, I should say, during the war years, and we'll be discussing that with her and a lot of other things that led her to that activity. So thank you for being with us, and we'll open up by having you give us your full name and where and when you were born.
My full name is Dorothy Louise Thompson Brown, better known as Dottie Brown.
Mm-hmm.
I was born in Tampa, Florida, October 26, 1921.
Okay, can you tell me a little bit about your heritage, your parents, what did they do in Florida? And
Well, my family during the Depression, a lot of people didn't realize, one of the hardest states hit by the Depression was Florida, because their whole economy was tourism, and they had none. They had no tourists. So my father and his two brothers went up to Detroit, Michigan, and found jobs. And very shortly, the whole family moved to Detroit. So I went to high school in Detroit and Michigan State College for 2 years. And then I aspired to be an airline stewardess. And at the time you had to be a nurse. But the same year of my inspiration, they gave up this policy. They just required a certain number of college years and certain education. They gave up the part about being a nurse. I applied and was hired.
What year did you graduate from high school then?
39,
Okay.
1939. I went 2 years into Michigan State College. I applied and went into training in Washington, D.C. to fly for Pennsylvania Central Airlines. It later became Capital Airlines, and it later was bought out by United.
So was this was after Pearl Harbor?
Well, this would have been in 39, 40.
Okay, so it
41.
was before Pearl Harbor that you went into
Yes.
the training. Okay.
And the military, Air Force, confiscated airplanes from all the different airlines, and it wiped out my tour stewardess class, my entire class. I didn't have a job, and I had only worked as a stewardess for about 6 months. But I had a major from Washington, D.C. on my plane who told me about releasing men for active duty and training women as cryptographers. And so I immediately went into Washington, looked him up, called a college roommate who came, and we went into training in Washington as cryptographers.
So this was probably
Early.
after the war then, or after Pearl Harbor.
Then, yes.
Yeah.
But only a little time's going by here, because I was only a steward for 6 months. And I only trained in Washington for about a month, and then we were flown in a crew of 8 out to Long Beach, California, to the 21st Ferrying Group Air Transport Command, Army Air Corps base, and opened a code room.
Okay.
Worked there for about a year, but in the meantime, it had all become computerized. The computer was as big as the code room, but it was also simplified. they no longer needed us.
Hmm.
So I transferred from the base in Long Beach to the satellite base they had opened in Palm Springs. They opened that base because they were delivering airplanes all over the world, every kind of airplane. And Long Beach was often fogged in the mornings, and so they opened a base, get the planes over at night, get them out around the world early in the morning from Palm Springs.
So did you become acquainted with some of the women that were flying these airplanes?
I did not. I within a short time married Captain Jack Brown, who was a pilot at the base, and I took a Red Cross Nurses Ed training with Regina Valley, Charlie Farrell's wife, and we had our graduation luncheon at the Racket Club. And in those days, the movie stars were all over town. Betty Davis walked her dog down Palm Canyon. Randolph Scott shopped at Bullock's. I sat on a bar stool in the drugstore, two stools down from Lana Turner. I mean, they were all over. And we paid no attention to them. We were living as glamorous a life as they were.
Yeah.
And we didn't bother them, and they didn't bother us.
That was an even arrangement. Huh?
Yes. I said when I married in Palm Springs, my trousseau consisted of 5 bathing suits.
So how did married life change your...
Well, when I married him, we knew that he was on the list to go for overseas duty. And he did get sent, in fact, he delivered an airplane to India, where he was stationed, and flew the Himalayas to China, carrying supplies for Chiang Kai-shek.
So he was a C-47 pilot?
Yes, yes.
Mm-hmm.
No radar, no nothing, a little
That's
oxygen.
right. Yeah, had to have that.
Anyway, when he came home and got out at first, when he first came home, he flew in a VIP squadron at National Airport in Washington, D.C. He flew General Marshall to Moscow on the peace treaty, for the peace treaty. He flew Edwin W. Pauley around the world on a reparations commission. And then he got out.
So did you move with him to
Yes,
D.C.?
we lived in Washington, D.C. for
Okay.
a while. And then when he decided not to stay in the military, he went immediately into the, it was called the CAA, Civil Aeronautics, but later the Federal Aviation Agency. So there was really no stop in his aviation history.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we've got some new
wonderful.
information here. It's,
Wonderful.
maybe if you just hold that up, I can take a close-up of the DC-3 that you were flying, and the
Oh, this one.
just
Oh, how cute.
just hold it up so I can
Yeah,
get a picture
This
of
was
it
quite
here.
some time later.
Oh, this I can't. What is?
United.
Oh, that's
it had,
United.
It had
okay.
become United by then.
Mm-hmm.
Ours were much cuter uniforms.
Okay, let's see. Get a close up here. Very good. Okay, thank you. You can put it down. We'll go back here. Okay, we'll continue. Your husband's now in with the
Federal Aviation Agency, and they were playing the old Air Force game, where if you were from some area, they immediately sent you to the opposite area. So all the people in training in the FAA that had been from the West Coast got New York and Chicago, and because my husband was from New Jersey, we got California.
Oh, back to California. Which,
So-
where did did you work out of
In
the
LA.
office in Manchester
Yes,
Boulevard?
yes,
Yeah.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
For 10 years.
Oh.
From 47 to 57, we lived in
Okay.
LA. and he was at that office in Manchester.
Mhm.
Worked quite a bit with United. They were all assigned to some airline. You know.
Mhm.
And in those years, we brought the children and my college roommate and her husband and her children to Palm Springs on their summer vacations, and we would come for a month. And these hotels would just let us stay there, sort of like they would rather have somebody there than have it empty and be vandalized.
Mhm.
We stayed at the old Desert Retreat for 2 or 3 years, and we stayed at Casitas Del Monte down South Palm Canyon, and we stayed at the Desert Isle. Just so many
So
places.
you really saw the.
We kept coming back to Palm Springs.
Yeah.
And
How many children did you have?
A son and a daughter.
Uh-huh.
And the daughter now lives near me in Oregon,
Okay.
and the son is in San Mateo, California.
Mhm.
And I now have 2 great grandgirls, 4 years old and 10 months old.
Great. And how
And-
many grandchildren, though?
I had just 3 grandchildren, 2 girls and a boy, and now 2 great granddaughters.
Okay. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Okay, so
So our whole life was, then as the children grew up, we started coming to Palm Springs too. Well, our first hotel that we stayed for many years was the Palm Springs Hotel, owned by the Taylor local family, the Taylor family, for many years. And we stood and watched them bulldoze that hotel to build the Fashion Plaza.
mhm.
Another big mistake.
Well, they're going to do it again.
And now we're gonna watch them bulldoze the Fashion Plaza.
Okay, you get to see.
But maybe that will be for the best.
We hope so.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully they will. So we stayed at that hotel, the Palm Springs Hotel, and when it was bulldozed, a hotel a little bit north took the Palm Springs Hotel. Maybe they bought it, I don't know, but then they took the name, and for a couple of years we stayed there. But when we had a room theft, and the policeman came and talked to us, he said, stay at a better hotel. And we could see, each year we came, at first it was nice, and then the owners didn't do anything.
Hmm.
And it just, just went
Go
down.
downhill.
So we didn't stay there anymore. And we had our 50th wedding anniversary. We took over the whole hotel. Let's see, I'm at the Chase Hotel now. Oh, now the name of that hotel slips, and I should remember that because he had started with 2 buildings, and he now owns all the way 2 more buildings to the end of the block, and another whole building. He takes in almost the whole block now.
Hmm.
It's
Okay, I'm not familiar with all those.
well, it's a very popular hotel, and we took over the whole hotel for him to have our 50th. They helped us put it on.
Mhm.
So here we are, still coming back. I've been now, my husband died 10 years ago. Well, first when he retired, we were in Anchorage, Alaska, which was his last federal aviation job. He was head of commercial airlines in Anchorage, Alaska,
Mhm.
and retired there. And then we started looking for a place to really retire as a home, and ended up in Medford, Oregon.
Mhm. So how many other places did you went
Well,
to L.A.
Los
and then?
Angeles, then San Francisco office.
Okay.
Yeah, lived there for about 7 years. And then back to Washington, D.C. when they were all hot for everybody, spending a couple of years at headquarters, no matter how happy they were where they were. So we went back there for a couple of years. And then Alaska.
Okay.
And he retired out of there. And so we've been in Medford 37 years.
Wow.
Now, he died 10 years ago, and I held on. I had a beautiful home, the family home, all through the years, on the Medford Country Club golf course. Just a wonderful place. But after he died, 5 or 6 years by myself, it just was no fun anymore.
Mm-hmm.
So I was fortunate to sell that just before the bottom dropped out of real estate.
Yeah.
And I now live at the Manor, which is a nationally known retirement because it has full care to the end of your life.
And that's in Medford.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
up on the hill. Anybody who has ever passed through Medford knows what that is up there.
Oh,
There are
that's what
3
it is.
buildings.
I go by there every year. I never knew what it was.
That's it. That's where I am now.
All right.
But now it's grown. There are 3 buildings. There are 3 different dining rooms we can eat in. It's really the right place for me at the right time.
Okay.
At the right time.
Sounds beautiful.
It's just perfect.
Yeah, great.
But here I still am,
Yeah,
going to Palm
but
Springs.
Do you come back to
I've-
Palm Springs for
Well,
several
when my husband
months?
was
Or?
alive, we came for 2 months,
Oh, okay.
usually February and March.
Mm-hmm.
And then after he died, I came for 6 weeks. Now I'm down to a month,
Oh,
you know.
go back to the rain.
Yeah. And it isn't fun like it used to be because my college roommates and their husbands would meet us here year after year. Palm Springs was our glory hole.
Yeah,
It was our glory hole.
no, it's
And Palm
beautiful.
Desert, I mean, that's a baby LA. Put 100 down, buy a car. You can't walk anywhere in Palm Desert.
That is true. It's not the same old Palm Springs anymore. It's well, not millions, but
That's about all I have
hundreds
to
of-
say, and I'm a talker.
So
So
Well,
I get
tell-
to look at all these.
yeah, take a look. There's a newspaper there.
Yes.
What does that say?
You know, I have a newspaper. I have a copy in my scrapbook of the Los Angeles paper. It's not the Los Angeles Times. Yes.
LA Times, yeah.
With my picture and a lot of other workers at the base out of here on a whole page in the
Oh,
Los Angeles Times.
wow. What day was that? Or
Well, it was before I was married. I was still working out there, and we were in the with the GIs in their dining room going through the. I wonder if I could get a copy of that. Send you a copy. That would be really be
Sure.
interesting
Yeah, well,
because it would fit.
with the new scanners, if you have the original, you can put it on
Just-
a copy machine and scan it, and
And send it. Just send it down.
yeah.
Okay,
that'd be great.
you give me
We'll get you.
an addressed envelope who to send it to and stuff.
Okay.
Then an interesting thing happened. You don't have to record this, but
Well, it's still going.
I went to the museum the other day. The hotel gives you a pass, you know.
For our air museum or the art museum?
No, I've been here several times.
Oh, okay.
but not this year. No, the Palm Springs Museum. And I walked in this one room, and they're featuring photography. And there's Bruno Bernard of Hollywood. All the pictures he's taken of the stars. Well, when I wanted a wedding picture to send to Detroit and Florida, where my family was, Palm Springs had no photographer.
Oh,
But once a month, Bruno Bernard, by appointment, came and took pictures, and he
Oh.
took my wedding picture.
okay.
And
So
he came to the house afterward, to the.
it wasn't on the day of your wedding? It
Yes.
was, oh,
Yes.
it was? Oh,
Well, he
so
took them before, but then the day of the wedding, he came to the reception,
Okay.
and he got lost. We were on San Jacinto Way, which doesn't even go through anymore. It's just open desert sand street, and he got lost out there.
Oh.
And by the time he arrived, we had eaten the whole top tiers of the cake.
Yeah.
But what fun to go to the museum and see your photographer
Yeah.
being featured.
Right, that's great. Oh, this is more on the 21st group that you were,
Oh, General Turner, oh yes.
yeah, we can,
Yeah, this is when they began to break it up, I guess.
Oh,
Break the
okay.
base up, you think?
hmm,
Says headquarters squadron hardest hit. I guess they're all leaving.
yeah,
Leaving.
I don't know what is the date on that?
August 1st, 1944.
Well, war's not over yet. But,
I was still here.
Yeah,
In fact, we left in December at Christmas time that year in 44 because he was going overseas.
hmm. Yeah, those are the old Palm Springs papers.
Yes, I have to be right.
Oh, no, it's the 21st group's paper.
Hmm?
You get your picture in there?
I have some pictures around that pool at the base.
No.
And it was the very beginning of two-piece. I had some of the first
Oh.
two-piece. Oh, they were considered the Ferry.
Risque, huh?
Yeah, really. Not very compared to today.
Right. So did you have any brothers or sisters that,
I did not. My life was perfect. I married the right man and our life was perfect. But it didn't start out. My mother was 15 when she married my dad, 16 when I was born, died in childbirth at 18.
oh,
She had TB of the bone, which is caused only by impure milk before pasteurization.
hmm,
You never hear of it,
no.
never
I
hear of it,
haven't.
but she died of it.
Hmm,
And so my paternal grandmother raised me. I had a wonderful upbringing in Tampa.
so she moved in with your dad then, and
No,
or you just lived nearby?
my dad was only 19.
No.
He just tried. He was in, by the way, he was in World War One, an airplane mechanic
Mm-hmm.
in World War One in some little town in Florida. And he saw those planes go up and fall at his feet. And even when I was an airline stewardess and could have gotten him free trips, he wouldn't go. He wouldn't go up in a plane.
Still a little afraid
He would
of
not
this.
go up in a plane.
Yeah. What country did they come from then? Or were they born in the United States, or did they immigrate from another country, or
Who?
your parents,
Oh, my parents?
or the
They were
grandparents?
Floridians as far back as anyone knew.
Okay.
My mother's mother and father came over from Germany.
Okay.
I know that. And they
Mhm.
were in Buffalo, New York or somewhere. And he died young, her father. And she moved to Florida with the two children. And that's where my dad met her.
Hmm.
Imagine 15 and dying at
Yeah,
18.
that's tragic.